Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So, joint intelligence bulletin from the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security. That's not an oxymoron, a joint intelligence bulletin from those two agencies. Warning of potential repeat attacks and retaliation following the attempted assassination of President Trump. The four-page bulletin stated that violent extremists may attempt follow-on or retaliatory acts of violence. Really? Mm-hmm. Just the generic warning. The violent extremists, you mean like Catholics who attend the Latin Mass?
Or moms at school board meetings? I mean, what kind of violent extremists are we talking? Domestic, foreign, what?
People who have the Choose Life specialty license plates? Because that's who these federal agencies have defined as potential violent extremists. So I guess I need more color on that from the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security and their current formations. And it speaks to the real, whether you think it's justified or not, the real skepticism about the FBI riding point on this investigation of that security failure on Saturday. For more on the topic, we're pleased to be joined by retired Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer, president at Project Sentinel and the London Center for Policy Research, author of Operation Dark Heart, Spycraft and Special Ops on the Front Lines of Afghanistan and the Path to Victory. Colonel Shaffer, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Hey, morning. I enjoy joining you guys, so thanks for having me.
So are we being skeptical enough or not skeptical enough when it comes to the FBI providing any sort of explanation for what has been admitted to be a massive security failure by the Secret Service on Saturday?
They're using, essentially, their incompetence as a reason for allowing this to happen. I'm just not going to mince words. I'm still a member of law enforcement in Virginia. My sheriff I work for, Sheriff Dave Decatur in Stafford County, had President Trump visit back in 2016. He did a thorough job of working to make sure that not only was the area for the visit secure, he was integrated completely with the Secret Service. They had direct communications, constant. I witnessed it. I was there. I was at the Chesapeake, Virginia rally 2.5 weeks ago, where Governor Youngkin from Virginia was there. I was there. I was actually next to President Trump on stage there. I was one of the guests, the VIPs. And again, I saw integrated, overlapping, continuous law enforcement coverage. So when you see the Butler event, it's all different. And why is that? And the FBI seems to be trying to create conditions for excuses, explaining what we know to see, what we see is wrong constantly. It's like, I think people are, at this point, I can't think of anybody right now who's not saying there's something really wrong here. And you simply don't leave a building and then say the slope was too difficult. You know, as Cheadle said yesterday, it's a difficult slope, and then the picture of the Secret Service guys,
right, on a
the counter
steeper
sniper team
slope.
is right there. Yeah. So clearly something is really wrong, and I don't believe for a minute, unfortunately, the FBI is going to be the ones to get to the bottom of this.
Well, I feel like it was negligent, not just incompetence. And
Yes.
they're saying that this might happen again. I mean, Trump has a rally this Saturday in Michigan with J.D. Vance. Luckily, this one is an indoor arena, but even that's not 100% safe and foolproof.
No, it's not. And again, this goes back to who is going to have to be the ones who are responsible for the president's safety, President Trump. And I think he's learned some hard lessons here. And I'm just going to say this, and I'm not going to. This is not conspiratorial. It's factual. When you look at DOJ, FBI, all the other organizations that went after raided Mar-a-Lago have done everything else they can over the past 2 years to demonize, otherwise use lawfare against the president. Are we really supposed to believe the FBI is all of a sudden going to, change its tune and become a pro-truth organization that's going to examine things factually? And, oh, by the way, the thing you just read, I'm as a member of law enforcement, I see other reports. let me just give you a little hint. What they said in their report, they copied from another law enforcement organization. It's not even original to them. Just saying.
Well, you can cut and paste the same pablum that you hear all the time from these same agencies. That's what it is. What about this? Is this also pablum? The story that comes out now yesterday that the Biden administration obtained intelligence in recent weeks about an Iranian assassination plot against former President Trump, and it led the Secret Service to ramp up security around the former president. So now I'm not saying it was a resource issue on Saturday, because I don't think it was, but as a layman, but I think there's some sort of just commonsensical reasons why it doesn't seem to be a resource issue. It seems to be a use of resource issue. But I mean, the timing of this, now the Biden administration is coming out with, we're on the job and we got this intel report and we beefed up security because we're playing it straight and we're just as concerned about President Trump or RFK Jr. as you are.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's like this is all a kind of a shell game. Yeah, there are resources there. They get anything they want. And this has been a political and policy decision to not give adequate resources. And again, I'll just go back and cite my direct experience. I always like sticking to that because I know what I saw at the Chesapeake, Virginia, near Virginia Beach rally. Most of the folks there were not Secret Service. They were DHS. They were DHSI. And I'm not bad-mouthing DHSI. I have friends at DHS. But, Secret Service is trained specifically to provide protection. DHI special agents who are supposed to be intelligence specialists, that's not their job. I think it's part of why you saw on stage such a ham-handed kind of fumbling of Trump to get him off stage, because only one of those people was an actual Secret Service guy, the big redhead guy. And he's one of the most loyal guys to Trump. He's been on his detail forever. I'm just saying.
And the rest were DHS? I'm sorry. You're saying
the rest were DHS. Just look at the badges. The badges, the shield is the DHS guys. The star are the Secret Service guys. That's an easy way, of telling them apart. And because they all have the badges on their belts. So look for the shield versus the star. The star are the Secret Service guys. Anyway, my point being is that when you actually examine what happened, a professional team would have had him off stage in about 5 seconds. Literally. It's like, yeah, okay, Mr. President, you pump your arm up, but you're off stage. And you wouldn't have had that, Trump's a big guy. I mean, if you look at my social media, you'll see, I'm 5'10", he's 6'2", he's a big guy. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to have people who are less imposing than him, if nothing else, just to be the body mass in front of a bullet. So end to end, I just look at this from the system that's supposed to be in place that protects the principal, him, as well as the individuals right next to him. There are things really wrong. And again, I think we all see this for what it is.
Ron DeSantis made this comment last night at the convention during his time at the podium. I wanted to get your reaction to it because I know you've commented on this ever since it was raised as a way to assure the public that that General Secretary Joe is at the top of his game. Take a listen.
I am alarmed that the current president of the United States lacks the capability to discharge the duties of his office. Our enemies do not confine their designs to between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. We need a commander-in-chief who can lead 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. America cannot afford 4 more years of a weekend at Bernie's presidency.
What about that? What about the sort of 8 p.m. curfew kind of thing that was actually volunteered by the president and his people? Yeah.
So Peter Doocy asked that question to Ms. Pierre, and the answer, because he asked, hey, what if a nuclear weapon is fired at us at 11 p.m.? Who do you call? Joe Biden? And it's a legitimate question. And the idea you have some, shadowy team behind the scenes who'll take time away from watching the latest episode of Yellowstone to actually go maybe attend to defending the country is kind of scary.
Yeah, but we didn't vote for the team. They voted for Biden to lead.
We didn't, yeah. But then again, you look at that, the same issue is like you got, Joe Biden's Ben Gay smelling finger on the nuclear trigger. Is that better? Because he is so apt to get things wrong. And again, I'm being a little bit funny here, but it's true. He has clearly not been able to focus. I cite for you the Lester Holt interview that the left is all upset about, where Lester Holt stumbled into doing some journalism and actually asked some hard questions. And the Biden responses, I think, say everything. Anytime he's pushed on something, he gets upset. What's wrong with you, man? So this is what world leaders face too. And as a matter of fact, last Friday, an unheard of call from the Kremlin, from their defense guy to Lloyd Austin, and the focus was exactly what we're talking about. Hey, are you guys okay?
Really?
Is there someone at home in case something happens? Because it may not be us, it may be someone else. Because the Russians don't want escalation of the war right now, and they're not convinced that we have leadership in place right now that adequately is managing our massive global nuclear enterprise.
I assume you're still close to enlisted and officers in the armed services. Okay. I mean, what is their impression of Joe Biden's capacity as commander-in-chief?
So the military is doing its best, especially a lot of my friends who don't like being political, just to do its job. But the concern at this point is, what if this president is unable to do the necessary things to keep us out of war? Nobody wants to go to war. And it's not like people are cowards, but they do see that the constant use of bellicose language, both domestically and foreign, tends to not ratchet down. And I'm sorry, everybody recognizes that we're on the brink of war, and they're not happy. It's not that they didn't sign up to be prepared. They didn't sign up to see the potential use of forces necessary because of mistakes politically made. And I think that's the issue. And I think a lot of folks, the people I talk to, most are for Biden leaving. Just saying.
Well, when they say we're on the brink of war, what their perspective is that we're on the brink of war with Russia. We're on the brink of war with Iran in defense of Israel. We're on the brink of which war?
Yeah, all that. The brink of war in the Middle East, because you have the expanded and continuous friction between Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Iranians, to include the Houthi. Just this last week, the Eisenhower, the U.S. carrier battle group Eisenhower, returned after, I think, an 8-month deployment based on the Houthi. That ship took some damage. They're not talking much about it, but it's back in Norfolk now. You've got the Russians and the Ukrainians ratcheting up. The F-16s are supposed to be introduced as a ratchet up. Putin has talked about nuclear weapons. NATO has been using very bellicose language. And I think all of these things are indicating to them and to me that miscalculation is the greatest danger to peace. And I'm a Reagan guy, and I remember during the Reagan years, and I've read about this after the fact, I was a lieutenant in 1983, there were multiple events where the Russians misinterpreted something we were doing and almost launched on us. That's the last thing we want now. And that's why it's important to have people of steady mind on both sides recognizing we don't want to go to war.
He is retired Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer, president at Project Sentinel and the London Center for Policy Research, author of Operation Dark Heart, Spycraft and Special Ops on the Front Lines of Afghanistan and the Path to Victory. Colonel Shaffer, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
I always enjoyed being on with you. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
If it's time for a new roof, your siding's looking old, you need new windows, gutters, or a reliable restoration company, trust me, AAA Roofing Contractors is who to call. They're the real deal. And speaking of deals, AAA offers a wide range of discounts, including military and healthcare provider discounts. And due to the recent storm, AAA Roofing Contractors is giving out free inspections in your neighborhood. The storm may have caused a lot of damage to your property, so please don't hesitate to reach out. AAA Roofing Contractors specializes specifically in insurance restoration claims. They're here to help you every step of the way so you get what you deserve. They value every shingle customer. In fact, they make sure clients are 100% satisfied. Schedule a free home improvement consultation now. Call 847-730-4026 or book online at arcroofinginc.com. Roofing, siding, gutters, windows. Family-owned AAA does it all and does it right.